Hey guys, welcome to the first podcast of NRL Fantasy Fanatics. I'm Callan Jensen, and this is Will Fanshawe.
Yeah, so first of all, this podcast we're gonna do our NRL tips for the week, and then we're gonna go into the team list, our three pods that we think, and then there'll be a team reveal, three buy, hold, sell, and then any questions you guys got, I am players of interest. So to start with, here are my tips for the round one coming up.
I
So look,
think have a
I've
look at
gone
the first game, Manly and Rabbitohs.
I've gone
Who-
Sea Eagles to win because I just feel like Rabbitohs are missing too much firepower with no Jack White, and I think like Manly's just getting better because they just got Luke Brooks and they're playing full strength for a long time. So that's why I've gone Manly. But what do you think, Alan?
Well, I think myself, I will go Manly, but it will be a tough forwards game as in Vegas, the fields are shorter, 5 meters
Which
in length
is bad for the
shorter.
Rabbitohs because of Latrell Mitchell. Doesn't have more room to run.
Yeah, their backs, the Rabbitohs' backs are definitely their firepower, but Sea Eagles, Ola Kawadu gets some ball on their edge, and hopefully Jake Trbojevic will have a big game, so he could be someone to look at in fantasy maybe too this round, but maybe not for the season coming along.
No, I don't think so. So yeah, I've gone Seagulls to win that one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And
Next game.
next game, Broncos Roosters. I've gone my least favorite team in the Broncos to win this game.
Well, I'm gonna have to say Broncos to win it. Like they should have won the premiership. That's all good. Um, I
I just
reckon
feel their firepower is way
Broncos
too
by
much.
10. Broncos by 10. I reckon
Their
Payne
firepower is way too
Haas
much.
will be an absolute weapon this year. Absolute weapon. He's going to have a big start to the season with the first game. Like, again, shorter fields in Vegas. He's going to be running the ball hard. He's got less room to move, more tackles, more post contact meters, more tackle breaks, more offloads. He's going to be a freak this year, I reckon. And it's a great way to start in Vegas for Payne Haas.
I agree.
So I
I also
reckon,
feel just way too much firepower. And like the Roosters don't have a bad side at all, but like you just look at the Broncos, they beat some quality sides last year and they got close to beating what was a amazing force of Penrith.
in Vegas, the forwards are going to win you the game. Like, not much room to move for the outside backs, but I reckon if the halves can control their kicking game in Vegas and kick to touch.
That's why I've gone to the Eagles because of Dallas Evans and his experience over Lachlan Ilias. You
Yeah.
know,
But big
yeah,
forwards game, Broncos has a forward pack over Roosters, so I'm tipping Broncos to win this by 10.
yeah, same. So now onto the Thursday games. I've got the Knights to win by 12 over the Raiders.
I reckon Raiders are a interesting outfit, I'm gonna say that.
Yeah,
I reckon Knights will just get him by
I feel
6,
like no
first game of
Corey
the season.
Horsburgh for the first and Chris for the first couple of rounds, really hurts him a lot.
But I reckon Ricky Stewart will have them firing out of preseason. Like, the Knights have an awesome outfit trying out. I reckon
I
Jack
mean,
Coggan should get the run.
The Knights just got your man Jack Cogger. He's a gun. We saw what he
Yeah.
could do last year, fantasy wise, and he's coming off
Saw,
a season with Cleary.
saw him in preseason. He was an absolute weapon. Like, he was, as soon as he was on the field, he was electric. So I
I
reckon
feel
he should get that starting spot.
maybe even the Knights for 14. I just don't see the Raiders putting up a
No,
competition.
I think Ricky Stewart has them firing those young guns. I reckon it'll be interesting with Teamless and Ethan Strange and KO Weeks, but I don't know. I reckon Knights just pip him, but Raiders Raiders are a good outfit this year, I reckon.
Yeah. So now moving on to Warriors Sharks, and look, I'm gonna say one thing: Warriors in New Zealand, you can't tip against them. They looked unreal in the in preseason trials too.
Yeah, well, the preseason it was a bit interesting with their preseason. I'm just gonna say that. I thought I'd get a bit more from them, but trying Kate Will out, he was very good in that second game, and I reckon just over the Sharks, I reckon Nico Hine will have. I'm gonna tip it early here. Nico Hines for Dally M again. Like,
Nah, Ben Hunt, mate.
he's past his prime, mate, but I reckon Nico Hines gonna have a freak season. I reckon he'll get that sixth spot for New South Wales this year for sure, 100%. But if we have a look, their preseason they were over the Dolphins 34-22, in round 2, and then in round 1 they lost to the Tigers. It was an interesting game, trying out a couple new experiences in that side, but I reckon looking at that Dolphins game, Dolphins are also a nice outfit in that game. They had a pretty good full strength team, but I reckon SJ, he won't have the best year. I don't reckon as good as
Mate,
last year,
he just
but
scored a
him,
double. He looked electric. And Roger, like
I just
Roger
can't see
helps
him.
him out a
But
lot.
Roger this year will give some depth to that back line. He
Oh
is
yeah.
a big game. Panthers
So
Storm.
next one I got, yeah, Penrith Storm. It's like I think Penrith, they started off terrible in the World Cup challenge. Like it was a wet game. They never play well in the wet. And the Storm are just, they're losing people. Like I don't know if this happens, but no Sean Bloor starting and old mate starting over him. I just don't rate that. Like
Well, they did look impressive against the Knights. I'm just going to say that. We see Pappenhausen in that side, 40% fantasy ownership. I reckon he'll be big for them, and Nick
we need a
Meaney too
big
this
game for
year.
them to win, but I'm pretty confident in saying Panthers will win.
I'm gonna say Nick Meaney may get a start in the centers this year. Um,
Yeah, because they lost old mate too, Justin Mullen.
but Harry Grant as captain is very interesting. But again, I'm gonna stick with Penrith. They were a bit interesting in that World Cup trial, but I reckon they still have that depth, like Isaiah Yeo, Scott Sorensen, Nathan Cleary. You can't go past
Although
those three big guns.
they are missing, like you look at it, Spencer Lane last year for them was unreal, and
Mm.
that just 30 minutes of just like
Still,
brutal force.
Fisher Harris, still
Yeah, and Leota, like, but
can't go past
Moses
Penrith.
Spencer Lane is almost irreplaceable. But yeah,
But
so I'd tip Penrith pretty comfortably.
I'm gonna say, game of the round. It's gonna be interesting. First round, Penrith Storm. When do you ever see that?
So
Let's
look,
move on.
I got
Bulldogs,
Bulldogs Eels,
Eels.
and my tip is the Bulldogs. Like, who are you tipping, Callum?
It's interesting. I didn't see anything flash from the Eels in that preseason. The Bulldogs looked really good against the Storm
I
that
mean,
first game.
yeah, and they lost to the Sharks 12-6, but I just think like Drew Hutchinson's there to go around, and so much of this Eels rely on Mitch Moses. Like, and you see, like the Dogs have been able to upset the Eels in the last couple of years too.
Yeah, well, they 38-16 in the first. I reckon one man who's gonna have a big season for them, Sean Russell. He'll be awesome for them.
No,
But
I
I
think
reckon
Bailey
E-
Simonson he'll have a massive season.
Eels don't have that forward depth like Paulo. That's probably about it. But
They got
whereas
Hopgood,
Bulldogs, oh, Hopgood too. Sorry, but Bulldogs stats
especially
this year. Just
as a like
looking at all the media, bro. Just Bulldogs all preseason. That's all I've been seeing. Like,
as a footy team, I rate Curran coming off the bench because he just gives that impact, and like they've got two of the most damaging edges in the game, running off Burton and Drew Hutchinson.
yeah, they're hard to go past this year, and I reckon Bulldogs in for a top 8 year. I'm just gonna play it early. Say it
Yeah, I
early.
reckon that's it. So now on to the Titans Dragons. I think this one's a no-brainer. Titans
It's such
by
an in.
20.
It is very interesting. It's just such an interesting matchup between the Titans and Dragons. Both haven't been in the top 8 of late. Um,
The
I just
Dragons were
don't.
abysmal last year, though.
I just don't know what to make of it. Like Sloan really needs a big season. I'm gonna just say
Yeah,
that.
but I don't rate the move of Zach Lomax to the wing. But it is good for one of our boys in our team, in our centres.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Sully,
yeah,
he'll have a big season, I reckon. Oh, he
yeah.
looked very impressive in that trial match.
Although you could say no Jaden Campbell and no Dave Fafita. Like the
Still,
Dragons,
Titans such a good outfit. Who they've got Tino just up the front, Fodder Waker,
I
freak.
think
Tanner
Tanner
Boyd
Boyd's
should
in
be
for a
better this
massive
year.
season. He's in for a
More
massive season.
experience.
I
Yeah,
saw him
but
at Mooloolaba Beach. God, he was looking big.
I've got to say, Dragons though against the West Tigers, it wasn't. I'm not going to say it was the greatest game, but they didn't look amazing. I
They're still
reckon
flog dust.
Tyrell Sloan will have a big year. He'll need a big year.
And
He'll need like
Luciano only helps him. Again, he
look.
only helps him.
He needs to be like Dream Buller. Like Tyrell Sloan and Dream Buller are going to have 2 massive years to guide their side to maybe a top 8 spot or up that ladder.
Yeah. So last game of the round, Personally, for me, a very, very interesting round. You get last game, but I got the Cowboys just getting over the Dolphins.
See, I'm gonna go against the Dolphins, I reckon.
You see, I feel like
Dol-
Tom Gilbert's a big forward for them, and he's lost him. Like he's gone for the season, and the Cowboys just like Cotter's captain, like who want to get out for a big start as a new captain, and they're not missing anyone. Like they're the same team, and Scott Drinkwater was unreal last year.
I don't, they still just extra depth with um sorry, Herbie Farmworth and Flegler. I reckon Herbie is in for a massive season. He'll just explode at the Dolphins. Like he really did look good in trials. But I do
But he is
think,
carrying a bit of a niggle from our physio, saying he limped off training yesterday because of his knee.
but I do think that more like they've been together longer now. It's their second preseason. I reckon Dolphins too may slide just into the top 8 this year, and that in for I reckon Sean O'Sullivan is gonna be good this year with Jeremy Marshall King. Like their spine is looking pretty good.
Yeah, so that's sums it up. So
Uh,
let's go. Sea Eagles, Broncos, Knights, Warriors, Panthers, Bulldogs, Titans, and Cowboys.
I'd go against you on that last game, but Cowboys do look good. Ruben Cotter this year. I reckon big season from him.
So now on to the most anticipated team list.
Las Vegas, what can I say? Interesting move from the NRL. It's going to be interesting, but let's go through these team lists.
So I feel Tom Trbojevic is in for a massive year. I just got a feeling like
Oh,
a 2022 season.
he could be a pickup, this year in NRL
He's
fantasy.
boom or bust. But if you want a pod and you got a BDE move, take him.
Yeah, well, he's got those 653k, averaging 47.5, but I reckon this year he'll be in
He's
for
got the
those.
hundreds or the 20s.
Yeah, if he stays fit, I reckon he'll get some of those big 100 games from
And
Tom
then if
Trbojevic.
I also think if you feel Tom Trbojevic having a good season, Dallas Evans having a good season too, because the year Turbo averaged 80, Dallas Evans his career average went up to 7 points, 70 points.
It's a Luke Brooks too. I reckon Daly Cherry Evans will take him under his wing. There'll be a nice little old halves combo trying to make the most of what's left of their career. But I reckon their spine's pretty strong. Like Croker, I reckon he is a very underrated dummy half.
Yeah, and Jake Trbojevic at 13, he's a gun. He's been done it the whole year.
Yeah, but still can't get over Latrell Mitchell. What a matchup that is. Fullbacks first game. Tom Trbojevic, Latrell Mitchell fighting it out. I reckon Latrell Mitchell will be running the ball. Will be running ball a lot. He'll try and get his hands on the ball early on this season
He'll want to make a
and show
statement.
what he's got.
At Vegas, he'll want to make a statement.
But just Cody Walker and
No,
Daly Cherry Evans. That's also another good combo. It's going to be I reckon, good game to start off.
something I'm very interested in is does Ben Trbojevic hold his own against Keon Kalonga-Matangi? Like, I know I've been
Oh,
massive on Keon this preseason and he's been in and out of my side, but Ben at 250k, like, is it worth starting him in the centres or looping him? Like, personally, I'm starting him, but it's risky. Like, he's never
yeah.
really shown his fantasy scoring, but in that preseason game playing next to DCE in one of the unofficial ones, he scored a double. Like,
Well, funny thing you say about forwards. Let's have a look at this forward pack. Like, they're both two strong forward packs. I reckon.
I mean, he'll be playing 80 minutes by the looks of it because Kyle Lawson will stint Lachlan Croker, Corey Waddell on a prop, Nathan
Yeah,
Brown on
Ethan
a prop,
Bullymore
and
can come in.
Bullimore could go edge, but I don't see Jake Trbojevic playing 80 minutes. He's older than last year and just don't see it.
But just that forward pack, I reckon whoever wins it, it'll be in the forwards out of both these games in Vegas. Again, shorter fields, like we've said before. Just a big forward game. I reckon Cameron Murray will be in for a big one. The forwards,
I
it'll
reckon
be
he'll put up
interesting.
60 tackles.
It'll be interesting because like shorter fields, the forwards are going to be absolutely working through it minutes. Like they'll be working hard, and it'll be interesting off the first game how they come from preseason. So I reckon it's all on the forwards in these two games.
Now, let's talk about. So, before this podcast, you were saying Jacob Gagai 230k is trap. Just to speak us through your thoughts there.
He is an absolute trap. He might make you a bit of cash, but I reckon you get Jack Wyden back into the side.
But
That
who's
means he'll
coming
get.
in for him? Like, I would put him over Richard Kenner from what I saw in the game, and Jack
Yeah,
Wyden
but
in for Richard Kenner. Like,
I reckon they'll take Isaiah Tass. They'll move him to wing. Also, who was it? It was
can't name
I
anyone.
just Jacob Gagai. Oh, what's his name? The young gun. Oh, sorry. I've, if we have a look here, I reckon Richie Kenner will play. Or will when Jacob Gagai goes, he'll stay. I reckon he'll stay.
I
But
mean,
Munro could too, wing fullback. I just reckon Jacob Gagai, he might make you
Munro's
a bit
injured.
of
Yeah.
cash. Yeah, but when he
Jacob,
comes back in round 3 or 4, same as Jacob Gagai, I don't think he'll be putting up many points too. It'd just be on emergency to make you a bit of cash in round 1 to 3, and then he's gone. He's straight out.
he's
Um,
he's made his debut at the age of 28, so give him a round of applause.
yeah, true.
But
But
look, I think he's an unreal footy player from what I've seen, and personally, he's in my side right now.
I just, I just don't think it. I think his price is just lured everyone in to chuck him on emergency and make money, but he'll be out of that side and by round 4, I reckon,
But
and it'll be a massive track.
I'd be happy with 50k if he makes me 280, and look, I'm happy with that from 3 rounds.
Yeah, I reckon there's better options like Kinney in your side.
So something I'm interested in, Tallis Duncan on the emergencies, which I think is very good for Cam Murray. Because I don't see where he's losing minutes. So you see Havili probably the bench hooker. Jacob Host only plays edge. David Miley, Tom Burgess are stinting these two. Sean Kepi's going to play 30 minutes. So big minutes for Cam Murray, 65 plus.
It'll be interesting with Totola. He's one of those players that you put in your fantasy side over the last couple of years, and he'd make you 40 odd points off
He's never really averaged more than 40 though.
40 minutes. No, it's just limited minutes. But I reckon this year he might get 50 plus minutes. If he does, he'll be averaging 40. He's still just one of those players in your team that's just going to be super consistent over the year.
Cam Murray at 792k, absolute must-have in my opinion.
Oh, you got those big guys like Cotter now, Haas, Yo. Like, it's hard to go past them, but it's just interesting with Murray with his season last year and how he went.
On to the next team list. So you got Broncos and Roosters at Vegas again. So let's go for the Roosters.
For fullbacks. Again, James Tedesco versus Reece Walsh. It's going to be like New South Wales versus Queensland. It's going to be a big matchup there as well.
You know my hatred towards Reece Walsh.
He's got those silly mistakes.
I just don't see it this year.
He's so electric. He's so quick off the ball. He's going to be the best fullback. He could go close to Dalian.
I don't think we really need to talk about the backs because there's not many people right now I think you'd start with in the backs for either team.
I am having a look at the Roosters back set. Billy Smith. I did not think they'd start him.
He was a cold hero last year for us in our fantasy teams.
He was. I read those trades late on in the season. He just stood his ground for some games and was a weapon out on. It was an absolute
Something very interesting is Spencer Lenu starting 8. What do you think?
I thought they'd take him off the bench. They'd just try and do what Penrith does. He is just a zap of energy, Spencer Lenu.
He's a workhorse.
He'd come on. That's why Penrith were just so strong. They'd have Jared and then Spencer Lenu just straight in. It's his leg power, his strength. He'll be hard to go past in fantasy, but I just don't reckon he'll get enough minutes.
And we've got both the cash cow edges for them, Tupanua and Wong. No, Nat Butcher on the edge, on the bench shocks me. I'm looking at it, and I think Tupanua gets more minutes than Wong, to be honest.
Stuart Wong was so impressive last year.
But Tupanua played all the trial matches and started. That's why I think he gets more minutes. So that's why personally right now, dual position 412k. That's why Tupanua is in my side.
Yeah, he's in my side on the bench. He's got that.
And let's just talk about him for a second. So you look at this, you look at him. If you filter it by second row and put it minutes over 50, His career average is 44.6 with a
40%.
break even of 31. 11 points of value right there.
He'll make you some cash. I reckon he'll be to that
He's
origin
got
period. He'll
the
get up to
boom and
600k.
bust scores like 75, 75, 87s,
87.
like 70s. He's got those big scores in him too. 75s. And no Angus Crichton there. That's something I'm very big on. I think he's almost a must-have in your side.
He just has issues. It's hard to come back from his mental health, and it's hard at game rugby league. It's a hard game. Like imagine the trainings he'd have to endure with his mental health, and then coming to play a game on a Saturday. Yeah, I just reckon days of Angus Crichton is slowly
The ship
going.
has sailed.
But I reckon Sandon Smith again. He's on the bench. Very interesting. Sandon
Please
Smith.
don't look at him. Please don't look at him.
No, yeah, no. We thought he'd do something last year, which he did. He made us some late cash in the end of the season, but this year, just stay away, please.
I gotta say, this forward pack for the Broncos is 3 players here I'm very interested in. And like you look at it, Payne Haas, Brendan Piacora, Patrick Carrigan, we've all considered them in our fantasy teams. Like, talk me through them.
I'm gonna say it. Payne Haas 80 plus.
This week, 80 plus, you reckon?
80 plus. Yeah, big game from
Yeah.
him. I reckon the Broncos look. I reckon they'd have a quiet, big preseason.
I think he's getting
big
55.
preseason. Yeah, I reckon.
I feel like
Hold up.
with these young guys, they'll be scarred from the grand final loss. Like, I don't know how much it'll weigh on him, but they'll be scarred. And something that gets me a bit like caught up with him is just that bench. Like, you got Fletcher Baker there, who's gonna demand 40 minutes, which he probably stints off Jensen. But Xavier Willison was unreal in the Kiwis game.
He was.
And Heifer, Kobe, he's just a gun. 13. Like, he'll stint Carrigan 55 minutes. Yeah, 55 minutes for Carrigan. So
That's the thing.
I personally wouldn't look at many of them because, yes, Payne Haas can rack out the 60 and 60 minutes, but you rely on him just to, like,
Well, let's just talk about Brendan Piacora. I reckon he's in for a big year.
Oh, he looked unreal in that trial game before he hurt his knee.
Well, we say he's at ownership 36.8. I don't blame you guys. He will look good. He'll make you easy cash at 400k. I reckon I'll get up to at least 650 by end of origin period, at least at the start. And he could be an easy sell to Jacob Preston or something like that. Or if he's averaging those 50s, like he'll get minutes. The only way I can see him is
this week.
The only way I could see him going off is maybe Willison coming on the edge. We know he can play.
Or Kobe to lock and Carrigan on the edge because he played a bit of edge last year.
Yeah, he did play a lot. That could be interesting, but I reckon Piacora will play more minutes than Ricky. Ricky's been consistent of late. He was very good last year, but just not one of those fantasy guys.
Yeah, so I think that's covered it more. The only thing I'm really interested in here is Marty Powell in the emergencies. And
the high
Connor
knees,
Watson.
as we call them.
Connor Watson, just interesting. Like, I think those are some very good players. But yeah, so
Wilson will make you that easy cash. He's
that's
a must-have
all
in
I'd
your
say for
emergencies.
here. So now on to our next segment. The free pods of the week for us. So the first one, he's in my side right now. Talk me through it. Tanner Boyd, hooker half dual, 635k, break in of 46. What do you think? He'll be owned by 3.06% of teams.
Yeah, he's not in my team. I had a look at him, but Tanner Boyd, like it's been interesting with the Titans over the years with their halfback, hooker, 5'8" issues. But now, hopefully he gets, when they get AJ Brimson back, Jaden Campbell, they'll be looking electric. They will be looking electric. Tanner Boyd, if he gets his kicking game right, he'll be big this year for the Titans. He'll be the reason why they make top 8 or if they don't. Like, their forward pack's electric. They just need to sort out. He'll play 80 minutes at halfback.
I think, like, you look at this and Kieran Foran is getting older. And, he averages 466 kick meters a game.
Nice.
Close to Kieran Foran. That's and 48 average. So that gives him 2 points of value. But that's probably the second, third best hooker. at a discount too. But the only thing that gives me a bit of like is that early buy. Like, but look at that draw, it's unreal. St. George, I've tipped them to be bottom. Canterbury
And
bottom, Dolphins
and
bottom, Cowboys bottom, Canberra bottom. Like,
they just after that bye after round 2, Tannerboyd sorted, but I reckon he will be good in those hard games too with his kick meters.
yeah, the
Um,
ones that, and I don't think like look, you have a 48 average at halfback, and that includes like games of 25. Like that was just a nothing game by him. Like
I
games of 34, and even from him as your secondary hooker, you're taking these 40s. Games of 27 against the Storm where they got absolutely walloped, and like 9 missed tackles. Like I
even
just don't think you put too much into it, you know.
he's just got that value at halfback there as like your
Yeah,
secondary hooker or maybe backup half because he's got that dual position. It's perfect what you need, but it'd be good if he was a little bit cheaper. That's about it. 635k is pretty expensive
I mean,
for a bench
he
player
looked
covering positions.
he looked very good that first half. Like he had 2 try assists and he converts too. Like he looked very good that first half.
Yeah, he's just got that value, extra points.
I think
Ah,
for me, like he'll still stay on my side, but I mean it's a risky move because who knows how much money he'll make. He could average 40, but I
mm.
think it's a move with a lot of upside too.
He's those guys that you expect him to score consistent 50s or 40s every week. He won't make too much money, but with a break even at 46, he'll be one of those consistent players you just leave on your bench there and let him do his job.
So you look at this, like you say, look with him at with when he starts at halfback with David Fafita, he averages 46.2. So like I don't think there's any value there when David Fafita's there. Like 49.3 without David Fafita, it just means he has to do more. Like he's got a
Mm.
65 in his game without David Fafita, where he's kicked for 520. It's just I feel he does more without David Fafita, which is why for the first couple of rounds I really like him.
So who's our next pod of the week? Will?
So second one, I mean it's the man. It's one of my favourite players, Drew Hutchinson.
Oh mate, you were telling me that even before the preseason that Drew Hutchinson, watch out this year. He'll have a
Like
big one. Look at that 102 there.
you look at these, it's got from someone his price, you're taking a 28, 26. Like he's not dropping that much of a break even 29. But look at you know what he can do. He's making you bulk cash if he gets that 100. Like it was last year. He just played unreal that game against Eels 52. You're taking that. Like I mean, there's
I
not a
just think
lot. Look, something here. He played halfback. He averages 25.8 tackles. That's where like no halfback's doing that for you.
yeah,
It's a very chill
he's
watch.
he's a guy in my team that I will expect. He'll be like the Tanner Boyd of my team. I've got him in. I will expect 40 from a week, and then
And
every
you
one
look
or
at him.
3 weeks you'll see those big scores from him.
You look
Will
at him at
will he get
5'8".
7 though?
You look at him at
Will
5'8".
Matt Burton?
51 average of 5'8". His price is
Yeah.
29. That's 22 points of value at least.
Well, it'll be interesting because I reckon Matt Burton will play 7 this year for them.
No, I think Drew's locked down at 7 spot. But look
Either
at his
way, if
scores.
he plays 5'8".
54, 71, 76, 92, 77. It's like lowest score of 25. He's not losing your head games. He's not losing your ranks, and he's got the potential of winning you like matches, winning your ranks. Just something I'm very interested in is you look at these tackle numbers, like,
Yeah, 25 there. He can play
and
center.
there's
23.
there's no like there's not a draw there that makes me like it's not a bad draw at
He'll
all.
also be crucial for Bulldogs this year. Him and Berto, that partnership, it's interesting.
And he's got probably one of the best attacking edges off him. Like you
Hmm.
see him going from both sides, so he's got kick out Preston because like he could get cheap ass points there.
Yeah, I reckon. Who we got next?
It's Solidity Tupanua. So I've looked at him
Pretty
and
high ownership, 10, but especially after team lists have come out, they've seen silly Tupanua, and they've just look at his average.
44.6 44.6 average.
Look at those
And
big games. 74, 75, 62, 57, 66, 60, 70,
I mean,
62, 57. Just,
you look at this. Yes, he could be boom or bust, but like these first couple of games, he was in like he's had terrible injuries, and like you're taking a 39 and 32 for someone his price, and then
mm,
he just goes on streaks, like not a score lower than 40 for about like what a couple of weeks, and that was on and off too. So
yeah. Just
it's
look,
just
when he's playing those high minutes, 50, even 66 minutes or 57, we will
and
be point
I see
per
the
minute,
risk of
hopefully about
improving too
1.6.
with with that tough draw. So first like 6 rounds, I'd say they got pretty tough first 7 rounds.
Mm.
It's like a lot of tackles, a lot of runs needed. Like you know,
Yeah. It was interesting seeing Wong there last year. He was awesome for them at the back end and in finals. But I reckon Tupanua will be their lockdown edge of the year, and I reckon he'll be like a guy like Jacob Preston last year. He'll be consistent, like he'll stay in your team pretty much all year round.
I mean he's got that duel too. At
Yeah,
421k with middle edge duel, great cover.
yeah.
I think yeah. So those three right now are currently on my side, and So here we go.
Let's have a look at the side that we have thought
Yes,
about right
this is
now.
the NRL Fantasy Fanatics side, and so talk us through it. So we got Hooker
Harry
Harry
Grant.
Grant
He is a must-have this season. I'm telling you, everyone should
playing
have him
captain.
side.
He
I
looked very
should
good in
see
that trial match.
90% ownership. Like this year, 78.8k is a bit cheaper this year, but he's like he can be like all the other hookers sometimes, averaging like some weeks he'll get a 40, sometimes he'll get 50, sometimes he'll get 60, but he will have those weeks compared to the other hookers where he will just grind, maybe get a try or a try assist or two and make 90 points. He's got those breakout scores compared to all the other
What
hookers.
other hookers are you taking over him too?
Like Robson maybe because he's a bit cheaper, Damien Cook because yeah, I'm
Nothing.
just Harry
No,
Grant. Just
Harry
Harry
Grant.
Grant.
And
Uh,
the big thing in this team is you're looking there like no pain ass.
nah. Well, I've got him in my personal side,
So do
but
I. But I feel
last year he had some scores where he would score 38 sometimes. Where
some injuries,
if have a look at his averages last
Mr.
year. He was
Consistent.
averaging 63.3.
Zero
Like
point 0.7, like so there's 0.7 difference in their average, and Yo's Mr. Consistency too. Like
he had one game below. He had one game at 38. He had
he can
38.
still
That was
get you
his
those
lowest.
80s. Like
Yeah, and he can have those 70s like the back end of the season. He was on my bench. He would score 60, get 70 some games, but I reckon even this year he's lost. Lenu will have to do a bit more work this year, but
I
I
think
reckon he's
so.
a must-have. He is a must-have. Same as Ruben Cotter. Like,
Yeah, he's like
there's not
it's
much to
pretty
say about him.
self-explanatory. Like
Yeah,
he used to be an absolute gun, and he's captain now. He looked all right in the trial game, but I just think for the Cowboys to push that 8,
they'll need
him
Ruben Cotter.
and someone I've been getting a lot of stick for, but I've been thinking about is Tamalolo. They've got to step up, and
Yeah,
Cohen Hess out too. So that just leaves more minutes for Cotter.
yeah. Well, let's have a look at the edges. Pia Cora, we've talked about him already. He will be awesome. Oh, Terrell May. He's named that 17 spot. It's
Look, this is something
interesting.
like this is the this is my decision here, but you look at that PPM, 30 points pretty much in 29 minutes. You look
Yeah,
at this
but
2023.
you could go with someone like Totola though to make you those easy 40s. Like I
But
had
you
a
look at this
mid-season last year to
2023. You
just
go minutes over 40. Or minutes over 40. He averages 50 and 49 minutes just off the interchange. 48, 54, 48. You go minutes over 30. Average you 42.6 and 39.1, which gives you 6 points of value. Like this pick, yes, it has risks, like a lot of risks.
yeah.
But it's a move you like. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. Like I just see Trell May, like especially with that bench, because there's no big minute forwards really in that forward pack, and
No.
like
You know, I feel like that Lenu will get
I
some
don't
big
see.
minutes.
I see Lenu playing 35 minutes and May playing 45, and I think with 45 minutes, May's got enough to score. Great work ethic to score 45 and
I see
make
also
you.
Sandon Smith
Yeah,
getting
but
at
he'll
least
he'll be
35
playing.
minutes a game.
He'll be playing hooker, so I don't really affect him.
Yeah, well, our edges, Picora, we've already spoken about him, but Jacob Preston, he's not
I mean,
in many
again,
people's teams. But
last year
have
he
a
was
look at him in
unreal.
his trial. Have a look at the preseason. He was outstanding. He is again a big season, I reckon, ahead. He's young, big future ahead of him.
Look at these scores. Like, he looked very good in that trial match, and you look at him
Like,
at second row, 52.3 average, but that's with
yeah,
67-minute games. Like,
he'll get you
couple
those
of
easy
40s.
50s.
He's so good in the attacking side, and I feel like they're a better side, which is better for him.
100%. But what can we say?
And
Halves?
there's a few sin bins in there. Like,
Oh
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
game in round, I think 4, he got sent off for sin bin. In round 6, he only got 42 and 70 minutes. But like, you look at the game before that, 82 points. It's just like that
Yeah.
82 points can win you, like, head to head or matches. Like, he's got that boom potential, 82, like 67, 60s, very consistent too.
Well, we're running out of time in this podcast, but let's have a look at the halves. Pretty self-explanatory. We talked about Tanner Boyd today and how's a massive pod, but Nathan Cleary. What can we say?
You got to have him.
Just what can we say about him? He's a must-have. He's a captain. He's the people's man, Nathan Cleary, at this time. But
I mean, they're playing wet weather footy, and he still got 60 in a team that got in a beaten team. That Penrith don't get beaten very much. And
yeah,
something for me is like you might not like Nathan, but you got to say that grand final performance was one of the greatest.
yeah. Center position. Ben Travojevic, we've talked about him. He will get big minutes this year at edge, and like it's just extra value, that dual position as well. He'll be playing edge. He'll get more minutes. He'll get that extra points value and tackles, and he'll hopefully run the ball more, tackle bust. But I reckon they'll have Ben Travojevic running some hard lines, and I reckon he could be. You get those 1 or 2 games where he will score a try. Like every second game, I reckon he'll be scoring Ben Travojevic.
I mean, I think he's a must-have. But next player, Will Penasini. Like, I mean,
Yeah, like I saw that
I think Bailey
try in that
Simonson's a better
preseason.
option with the dual position at 470k, just for
But
more of that like boom or bust. But I think Penasini will be top 3 centers. Like, he'll
Yeah.
average you 45 pretty consistently because they always go to Moses' edge. Like,
he's their man this year, Moses. It's not in my team. His price is a bit high, but well, not high, like 800k. He's just
792k for Moses.
he was interesting last year. Didn't score many points some games, but he would have those games with 100. But I'd rather a Fogarty or a Tanner Boyd, just 50 consistent, and also that dual position. So, because like now with fantasy, you got those extra buys every week. Like you need those dual position players.
Now, I look at this. Keeney, he's only got 3-4 weeks, but
But
he looks like a
is
very good footy
electric.
player.
He'll be either like Reece Walsh. He'll have those games where he'll score big, or he'll have those weeks where he isn't going too well. But like seeing him in those trials, he is electric, Keeney.
And secretly, I'm backing an injury to Campbell again this season, or Kieran Foran, where Campbell moves to 6 and Keeney's got to come back in. So I feel like he's almost a hold for the whole season because I feel like there'll be another injury. Like, those players are known for injuries at the Titans.
But he'll be good for a bit extra money, I reckon. Puppy.
Pappy's he's a guy I've gone cold on the last couple of days.
He could be an absolute boss.
I mean, he didn't look very good in the trials, scored 10 points.
Have a look at his
But the game against the Bulldogs, he looked electric. Yeah. But he's not conversion kicking, which I don't know, like, and they've got a very tough draw.
Yeah, just watch that injury this year, but it's price. You can't go past his price, Ryan Papenhuyzen. He's been a must-have, like
owned about 40% of teams. Like,
yeah.
You look at that draw though: Penrith, New Zealand, Newcastle, by Broncos, Canterbury, Sydney.
Softens up a bit.
Rabbitohs. Like, that's ridiculous. 6 rounds till there. Ridiculous 8 rounds.
KO Weeks, will he get the starting position? Will he?
I think he will. I don't see I just do not see Ethan Strange playing.
Do we
And
see Ethan Strange centre though?
no, at 6, Sebastian. Look, well, I mean, you always see Jordan Rapana's already been confirmed at fullback. Who I want to talk about him. Like, he wasn't in our original pods, but I'm sorry. Like, just look at this. Do you think he can keep that spot? Because all jokes aside, 49 average at fullback. Like, you see here, he's got an 84 in his game. He's got 102 in his game. He's got a 95 in his game. Like,
Again,
he's up.
that's 20, like 2021, 2020. I reckon I might give him a couple of weeks.
But you look at this, like 2021, he scored 102. 2023, he played there, 84, 53, 47. Like, and they weren't against shit teams. Like, that Bulldog side was pretty, not very good, but they lost to the Sharks 24-6, and he still got 47.
I could see KO Weeks also playing fullback this year at some point for the Raiders. They're just a very young side, and I think they might have a bit troubles in the middle of the season.
You
with
might
Ricky
see Ethan
Stewart.
Strange move to 6 and then KO to
Yeah.
7. Oh, to KO to fullback, yeah, maybe.
They might. It's going to be interesting with these emergency players. They could be absolute busts or freaks.
So we're
So
already talking about
Drew
Drew.
Hutchinson. So
And
along with
still was a gun, but how many minutes does he get? That's the big thing. If he gets 60 minutes, I think he's got to be on everyone's side.
yeah, Jamin Salmon.
Jamin Salmon,
The
like,
week
so,
got a dog.
I gotta say, if you told me Jamin Salmon was starting 13 a month ago, I would have thought you were crazy. But I think it's becoming
You're
true.
right.
And the guy that everyone thought was a must-have is at everyone's team, Josh Curran. Like,
Yeah, he just didn't get that starting in preseason. But
two
he
30s in a row, like two 35s in a row for Jamin at 289k. He makes your money. Like, he'll make your money.
Adam Elliott. He's not personally in my personal team, but
You
I
look at
see
their
him.
bench, like,
He will be good this year, Adam Elliott. He's
I mean, I saw,
578 or 576. He's that mid-range player again, like Totola, 40 odd, but he may score that 60 odd.
but I just saw a podcast that said, or a tweet that said, Adam Elliott will play 55 minutes. So I just want to have a look at this for a second.
Well, you'd
like,
be expecting a point a minute, hopefully, from Adam.
Yeah, you look at minutes under 60 while playing at the lock position. Like,
Yeah, that 93 point. Was that 93 points?
37.8 and 45.6. But you look at this, like,
But
he's got games.
he's got
Last
those
year,
breakouts.
he had a terrible injury last year, so I think we can almost take away last year's scores. But, like, look, I'm putting myself off him by looking at him right now, to be honest with you. But, like, I can't really go vouching for him.
I know. I think he will. He will have those big scores, but also those 30s. But it's like every NRL fantasy player. Some are predictable, some aren't. Some are absolute traps. But
Look at him in Hooker. Like, when he played there, and we thought he was crazy. 53 and 51 for the Raiders. And second row, he's got some very nice games. 44.7 and 72 with, like, he was putting up keeper level scores.
I still have to look at these emergencies. Like I've already said,
We've already
Gagai.
spoken about Gagai.
Gagai is a trap. Guys,
Thing is, Lachlan
please do
Galvin,
not bring him into your team.
you loop him round 1, so that's why I got him there, so I can loop.
I don't know
Salmon.
much about Galvin and Finu, but Finu will be an up and coming star. I reckon.
Galvin played well in the trials too. Like, he looked good off the bench. And Sam Hughes, Cash Kelly, yeah. Jacob Preston, Max King 2.0. I'm telling you.
I reckon you go. I reckon personally Gaia instead of either Galvin or Finu.
Guy, yeah, maybe. But let me talk about Sam Hughes. Like, the minutes are there for him. 40 minutes. He'll score you 35 points. That's enough money. Like, he's a must-have. He's an absolute lock in your side. Please don't do it.
Yeah.
So
he's in my side.
I feel like to finish off, we should just talk about the players' stats and like players of interest we're in. So we haven't really spoken about many of these players, but you look at it. There's 5 players I really want to talk about that we haven't spoken about yet.
Let's talk about Bailey Simonson first of all.
Yeah. So currently he's in my side, and look at this. So he had a shock move to centre last year, 2023, average of 37.5 with 77. But look at that streak went on. Like, it was an unreal
Yeah.
streak, and he finished off bad, but that was with not Dylan Brown there, I don't think, for a bit, because remember he had the sexual touching thing. Like, look, he averages more without Dylan Brown, but the lower scores, like, he's more consistent with Brown there, like getting those 40s for you.
Again, I love my dual position players. He saves, like, they save trades, they save for those buy rounds, especially during Origin. But I reckon Bailey Simonson, he was good last year, but if he's not scoring those tries, sometimes he may
I mean,
be
he
like
looked
30 odd.
he looked unreal in that trial. Like, you got
Yeah,
to say, without the hamstring, he looked unreal.
yeah. He's
And you
in
get
my
rid of that
personal
18 because
side.
it's only in 43 minutes. So you put minutes over 60. He averages you 39 points. So that's 5 points of value on his thing with the duel. And not
Also,
a bad draw either.
another person I do want to talk about. He's interesting this year. It's not really. I want to talk about Sean Johnson. I don't want to talk about. He's not a buy this year. I'm telling you guys. He will be a trap this year. He had the freakish season last year.
He looked good in the
Like, look at
trials
those
though.
scores. I just, at that old age, I don't see him going through a big season like that, like he did last year. I don't see him coming back. I could be wrong, but
One thing I got to say, so I was sitting next to this guy and he brought Roger into his team after after last weekend's performance. And I'm looking at it right now. It's like, yes, he scored 67, but he played a half at, so Tane Tuivasa got taken off, so he's only scored 27 in 40 minutes. But Rogers played a half at fullback where he scored that 67. And like, I got to say, look at this. Please do not buy Roger. He's already way too overpriced at
you can't
619.
trust him coming back from Union. Like,
Like, you look at him on the wing, like 37.3 average. He's losing you 8 points there, 8 points of value. Like, he's got 15s in his game. He's got 23s. He's got 29s. Like, yes, he could come out in a good look Warriors side and score you a couple of tries, but like, you look at him a fullback, just more touches. Like, he was that vocal point of that off.
12.1% owned.
I don't know why 12% of people, but please do not touch him. Like, I'm telling you.
I thought he'd be like Bronson Cherry coming back, 450k. I was having a look at him, but 619k for Roger coming back. Ugh.
So
Unless he's scoring you like freaking Nathan Cleary or Nico Hines.
now
No,
let's talk about
stay
the
away.
guy you love,
Oh,
Bronson Cherry. Like, he hasn't been on my side at all once.
I love his story.
40.4
I just want to
average.
shout out. I want to give a shout out to Roger Fabry and what he's done with all his speedsters. Like, I reckon Bronson Cherry, he's got the ticker. Like, you've seen him banned for 4 years. He's come back. I love his story. He's come back now, and he is ready for a huge season. I reckon Bronson Cherry. I hope he gets that starting position. I was looking at him in fantasy, but he might be a bit of a trap. But I was looking at him. He'll get that starting position in round one, I reckon.
He looks pretty consistent here, but you can see in his game, he's got the 20s that loses your ranks and the 5s there. But he's also got those 70s. It's like, personally, I would never do it. Please do not.
He's been running the ball a bit more, like in those trial matches. He ran the ball, ran for the most meters for the Dogs in the second trial match. So he could be an option, I reckon. Could be an option.
To finish off the podcast, I would just like to go through my side here and just get your thoughts on it, Callan. So, like, I'll talk you through it first. So, I feel like we've explained these four pretty much. Helium Lukey, I feel like you look at him.
He's gonna have a breakout season. I wasn't gonna look at him.
With Luciano Leilua leaving, it's a no-brainer. 498k. You put him at second row. You put him at minutes over 50. He averages 46.2. That's 10 points of value. Like, yes, he's got a 19 there, but in a 13, he's got an 84. He's got 60s. He's very consistent if you get rid of those 2 games, which he only played 50 minutes in. So you go minutes over 60, 55.6 average. That's 19 points of value. Like, and that's not an 80 minutes. So if he can get an 80-minute roll, I'm all over him. and I'm all over him right now.
Well, he's in my side right now with Bakura. I just think those two will be deadly this year. Um, but I do have a lot of, like you see here in your side, we do have a lot of mid and edge options. It's just value, I guess. The easiest way to make money in fantasy. Mids and
So
edges.
we've already spoken about Piakura, Cleary, and Hutchinson,
Oh,
but
Sully, he did
Moses
look
Suli.
electric.
I mean,
He
if
has
you
those
watch
massive games.
if you watch that trial match, you're like, holy shit, he's the best centre in the league. No doubt about it. And like you look at these scores, yes, it's wins it for me or loses it for me, but 2023, you put minutes over 70. He averages 34.6, which is
Not
only a point and a half
bad
of
for a
value.
center. But
But
you do expect from a center or a wing fullback one of those games with 30 odd or 20 odd points.
he
Like
had
you can
18,
expect it.
19s there. Like he had 20s, but you saw what he did. He just scored 50 in like 60 minutes. And he was running edges around the Tigers. And you look at that draw, I didn't see any teams there. Like all the way to New Zealand, no teams there. Like Gold Coast, Dolphins, Cowboys, Manly, Newcastle, and Tigers. You can all like put points on them.
Yeah, I
And
reckon he's
he's
an
owned by
interesting option.
2.87% too. It's a pod.
He's very interesting, but I remember, I think it was last year or the year before, he scored like a couple games at 90 and 80 odd, Moses Sully. He's
Yeah,
just so strong. Like, you
so
saw him running the
big
ball, he's
too.
running over defenders. He was running over him, he was on a rampage. But, yeah,
So
interesting.
we've already spoken about those 4-2, like Ben, Pappenhausen,
Boyd,
Simonson,
Salmon.
Keeney, Boyd, Tupanua, Salmon, Galvin, Jagger.
Galvin's interesting.
So the only one we haven't spoken about in this team is Kane Tuapiki. And I'm going to talk you through
Run
this.
me
Like,
through him. Run me
it
through him.
was someone I was a bit hesitant on because Chance was confirmed only missing 3 games. But I got inside news that he could miss up to 10 games, Chance, with a calf strain. And I'm looking at this. He averages 34.3 in 80 minutes. Again,
Yep.
that's 6 points of value. And he's getting you points here of 45. Like, they got flogged to the Dolphins at 27. Tigers, they beat them only just 31. Like, you're taking that 31 and a 45. I mean, the Warriors are a better side with Roger and Kurt there.
Like, calf strain, surely, come on, 10 rounds.
That's what I've been hearing from an inside source of the New Zealand Warriors. And you look at that draw, like, let's say Chance is back for the 3 rounds. I can see him averaging more than that break even of 28 and see him getting up to maybe 450, 440k with Cronulla, Melbourne, Canterbury. Oh, sorry, Canberra.
Yeah. I'm going to stay away from him at this point in time. But
But so
he could
Callum,
be
what are your
again.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on my side?
I reckon you've made those plays. Go home. Like, there's like so huge plays like Sully. He could be make or break it. But you do have those
I mean,
those
we always
consistent
know
guys in there to make up for it.
I love my PODS data. I
Yeah.
always have.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like they win it for you or they lose it for you. Like,
Well,
Sully comes out, he wins it for me. Simonson comes out, Boyd comes out. They all score 50s. I'm laughing.
Yeah. Well, like you said yesterday, mate. Your words of wisdom. Every decision will win you the season. Like,
With every trade comes a decision. With every
yeah.
decision comes a
Like,
makes
you've
your
got some
decision.
interesting decisions, and they could work. They could not. But I reckon Moses Sully will work. Like, he was freakish in that trial. Just give him ball. That's all I'm gonna say. Give him the ball. St. George Illawarra, Ben Hunt. Please give Moses Sully the ball.
And I gotta say, I would say like I only have 2 backs, and I'm only playing 1 back from Vegas, which is what like tackle numbers, run meters will be
yeah.
crazy for these guys with the 6
Yeah.
like
Like,
to change to the field.
I've looked at my team. I don't have a single back. I don't have a single back playing in Vegas. I just think it's gonna be an absolute trap for a wing fullback there. But we'll see. I'm excited to watch the games. Footy's back.
So thank you for watching, and we would just all like you to get around us as an very new account, and like the DM's always open on our Instagram page, which is NRL Fantasy Fanatics _. And like best of luck. We'll be doing the schedule right now. Will be for the videos. There'll be one of these videos a week, which is team reveals and trades. We're thinking like team list pod, like the free pods of the week. There'll be, and then there'll be around results and a like going through the games of how they scored at the end of every Monday. So those are two videos.
Interesting, you guys. Before we finish it off, actually NRL Instagram page viewed our account and has viewed our stories. Hopefully, we can get there one day. NRL following us, but thanks guys for watching. Hopefully,
Yeah, I would really like your support and just thank you.
see you next time. See you guys.
Yeah.